Okay, let's go to Toppy from the Czech Republic. Toppy from the Czech Republic, welcome to the program.
Hello, nice to speak to you, David. I'm currently a student from India studying in Czech Republic,
Okay.
and I have a question regarding why don't all the blue states in the US sort of come together and launch their own version of socialized healthcare instead of relying on the
Well,
national government?
there's a couple of issues right now. I like the idea. I think it's more likely that the right way to launch some kind of socialized healthcare system is going to be within one state. Right now, the difficulty with doing it in multiple states is that in the United States, healthcare is state by state. It's not, as the term that's often used, Toppy, is healthcare isn't sold across state lines. If you're in New York State, you have to
Hmm.
select from companies operating in New York State and that are offering plans in New York State. If you go to Florida, as I will be doing in a few days, hopefully, and if I live in Florida, I now need to choose from the plans made available in Florida by companies licensed in Florida. So it's difficult to immediately go across state lines. What I would like to see is one state to do a socialized healthcare system, and then maybe they can grow it into a consortium with neighboring states over time. But where I'm 100% with you is states can start doing this. And there was a failed attempt to get it going in Vermont, which has its own kind of backstory. I would love to see this happen.
No, I mean like the way they did in the EU. State insurance from one country is recognized across the EU.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's
I would love to
considered
see that.
similar.
It requires a bunch of regulatory and other changes, but I'm with you. I would love to see it.
And quickly, a second question,
Sure.
if that's um, you have been transparent that you invest in Amazon, but wouldn't you like push for something more sustainable, like instead of us progressives putting money in companies that we don't really align with?
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, it's so first of all, in terms of my individual stocks, I've divested myself from just about every individual stock I had. So, I previously invested in Alphabet and Live Nation and Tesla and Amazon and all the I've mostly sold almost all my individual stocks. But the truth is, like, even through index funds, I am invested in little pieces of companies that I don't directly, that I don't support, whose business models I don't support. And that's an unfortunate reality. Noam Chomsky was asked about this as well. And someone confronted him and said, you criticize a lot of these fossil fuel companies, but you're invested in index funds. And so you own a little bit of them. And Chomsky was kind of just flippantly like, well, what, should I keep my money under my mattress instead or something like that? I think you bring up a totally fair point, but there are limits to what people can do, and not every action everyone takes is ever going to be 100% aligned with every moral principle. And the simplest thing for me to be able to do the best show I can and to focus on the show is I keep my investments in really low cost index funds where I own the entire total stock market index. And there will be some companies in there I don't like, but I'm going to do more good by leaving the money there and then
Mhm.
simply focusing on the show. Does that make sense in any way?
Yeah, no, I mean, last semester I took some courses, and this university in Germany was incredibly left-wing. And the way they do is they try and push their students to introduce students to companies that are more sustainable overall. So instead of investing in mainstream companies, you invest there. Like in the US, you have Gravity Payments. The CEO was incredibly popular because he reduced his salary and is pretty much the same as his co-workers. So investing in companies like that
That
instead
is
of
that is perfectly fair. That is absolutely fair, and I think that's completely reasonable what you're saying. I am guilty as charged.
yeah. Okay,
All right, my
thank you.
friend Toppy, thank you very much. I appreciate it.